All right. Well, it is just after 3. I haven't seen anyone pop on yet, but we'll go ahead and get started. And if anyone comes in live, then they'll join us. And if you're joining us via YouTube, then you'll get to start with us from the very beginning. I'm going to come closer to the camera here because it's giving me a message. All right, there we got it. All right, so let's go ahead and begin. Once again, if you joined me earlier this week, it's great if you got a chance to do any kind of warm up before joining me. And that can be anything that you do to kind of get your blood pumping for up to about 10 minutes. So that could be running, walking, cycling, rowing, pretending to jump rope or actually jumping rope if you have one. Really just anything that gets your blood pumping. It could be walking in place, stepping side to side. We'll do a quick, just 2-minute warm up together. And if you haven't done a warm up, this will just get you a little bit of blood flow going, a little bit of a heat build before we start our stretching and then our workout. So don't worry if you didn't get a chance to, but whenever you join us, if there's any way you can go ahead and just do a little quick warm up before you come in, then that's just gonna get you ready to go, especially if you've had to sit for work or anything else prior to joining us. So again, if you want to do a quick 2-minute workout, we'll just do 30 seconds of various movements. So I'm going to jog in place and then do jumping jacks and then high knees and then some squats. If you need to change that up for you, go ahead. I'll give you some options and I'll do that throughout this workout. Since I don't see anyone live, I can't really give you feedback based on you personally, but I'll try to give some ideas just in general. So if you're joining me on YouTube, you can use some of those ideas. And if really nothing's working for you and you don't know what might work for you, send me an email or a text or give me a call and we'll figure out how to adapt things to work specifically for you. Okay? All right. So let's go ahead and get started with, oh, and I just realized I'm going to need a timer. Yeah, I can make it work with my watch. Let's go ahead and get started with those 30-second intervals just to get warmed up. I'm going to start with that jogging in place. And I'm going to start in 3, 2, 1, and jogging in place for 30 seconds. Again, if jogging's not a thing for you, you can do something else just to get that blood flowing. You could have high knees or stepping back and forth. Just do something where you can get that blood pumping or get that heart pumping. All right, we're almost done with this first 30 seconds. All right, we're gonna move on. I'm gonna do jumping jacks. Again, if you don't want to do jumps, you can do these jumping jacks in a low impact way, or you can do them in the more traditional way. I don't have music playing just because we end up getting a lot of feedback doing this online. But if you have music that you want to play, feel free to play it if that gets your blood pumping. All right, next 30 seconds, I'm going to do high knees. And just for your information, you could also do this seated. You could raise your thighs up to meet your hands or as far up as they'll go. There are other things we can do seated. So if you need to practice seated, again, just let me know and I'll make sure that I'm putting those alternatives in. Oh, I think I went past my 30 seconds. What's the last one I said I was going to do? I said I'm going to do squats. So again, you can do squats here. If you want to add a little bit more jumping, you could even do a jump squat. I'm not going to do that today. I'm going to stick with squats. These aren't really deep ones. I'm not really trying to go slow. We'll do that later when we do some squats. This is, again, just that little bit to get our heart pumping. And that's it. There's 2 minutes. we just warmed up. So if you were joining for me for that, we're gonna move on now that we got our heart pumping and our blood going, and we're gonna do some dynamic stretching. And I've got my notes here, so don't mind me, so I don't forget anything. So I mentioned that we did this fast squats to get our heart pumping. Now we're gonna do some slow squats just to start to check that range of motion. So take your feet maybe a little wider, and then we are going to see how far we can go in this squat and then come back up. And let's do about 10 of these. If you need to do a little bit fewer, go ahead. We're gonna go as low as you can. If it's not this low, that's okay. Go where your range of motion allows you to, and then press through your heels and squeeze those glutes on the way back up. I think that was 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. I'm going to take this a little bit narrower, about hips distance, and I'm going to do 10 more. 1. So now all my joints are at slightly different angles. This may feel a little different. You may be able to come to a different height here. I think that's 9, 10. And then one last set of these squats. Let's bring our feet a little narrower than hip distance. They may even touch. And then let's try that again. And maybe even here, see if you can squeeze those thighs together as you're coming down. Six, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Great job. Thank you. We're going to keep going this time with a hamstring stretch. So I'm going to do this standing. If you are seated, you could do this seated as well. I'm going to just demonstrate standing today. So feet about hips distance or so apart, and then starting to slide the hands down the legs and go as far as you can to get that stretch in the back of your legs through your hamstrings. It's okay to bend the knees a little bit here. In fact, make sure you at least have a tiny bend. We don't want to lock out our knees. And let's hold that. All right. Soften the knees even more. Let's press through the heels, come back up. You can use your hands to help. From here, let's go ahead and do a side to side walk. So side, side. You can put a little squat in there if you want. We'll go back and forth a few times. So this is still kind of an extended warm up, but now kind of getting a little bit more of that range of motion warm up as well. Trying to lubricate our joints before we really start the workout proper so that we're ready when we start to really challenge ourselves. I think that about does it. And we're going to do a lot of things for our hips. Some of you may be part of the ski excursion that's coming up in March. And so a lot of our workouts, even though they're all going to be full body for anyone that wants to participate, I've really thought a lot about things that are going to help people prepare for skiing. So let's make sure our hips are warm so that we can do those hip movements like you would do if you were skiing. I think we're being joined by my dog. Hello, Penelope. All right, so let's do a hip rotation. We'll make circles. So just imagine that your hips are making a circle sort of right here. We'll go one direction for about 5 times and then we'll switch. Let's switch directions. And then let's now think about moving the upper body in that rotation. So we're going to hold our hips and our legs fairly still, and that rotation is going to come from the upper body. You can just let your arms go loose. They can kind of knock against the front and back of your body. That's okay. Just starting to let our spine wake up and get a little rotation. Again, the range of motion here is entirely up to your body. You don't have to go 100%. In fact, maybe back it off to like 70, 75. This is our stretch, our warm up. Let's do a couple more here. And then we're going to think about stretching the sides of the body to warm that up. So you can keep your hands at your sides as you start to come over. If you want to take one arm up, you can. Or if it feels okay to you, you could have both arms up and interlace your fingers or point your fingers. And let's do that to both sides. Don't forget to breathe. And then let's maybe come back again. We'll do that a couple times. In fact, let's make this kind of a movement. Inhale as we come over, or sorry, exhale as we come over, inhale back up, and then exhale to the other side. I think that is pretty good. Shake that out again. So that was just our warm up and our stretch. If you feel like there's anything else you need to do to get your body ready for this workout, go ahead and do it now. If you're watching again on YouTube, feel free to pause whenever you need to, if you ever need a break or if you need to do something else other than what I've just done. All right. So the workout is just a few exercises, and then we're going to repeat that circuit 3 different times. So we're going to start with squats. I know we already did squats. We're going to do some more, and this time we're really going to think about using that muscle strength to move in and out of the squat. You can do this with body weight only. If you don't have any gear at home, that's totally okay. You're still going to get a great workout. If you have other things that you can use to intensify it, things like bands or hand weights, feel free to use them. If you don't and you want to have something like this, please let me know. We have bands that we can get to you from Project SOAR, from Access of Wilmington. So feel free to reach out to me if you'd like some bands to do these workouts with. I'm going to, let's see. Let's start with our feet a little more than shoulder width apart. If you were using a band here, you could bring that band around the thighs. Just make sure you've got some tension there as you come down. And let's do this, like I said, let's do about 15. If you need to do a few, take a little more of a break, you can do fewer. And then if you feel like you need to do more, you can do more. But remember, we have 3 sets, so we're going to be doing more of this. So let's come down. For this one, we're going to let our tushy go out. So I'm going to turn here. Back is flat. And then as we come up, we're going to squeeze those glutes right at the bottom to come up and then come back down. And then squeeze up. So we're working those glutes, building that strength. For those of us that have low back pain, I know quite a few of us do, strengthening our glutes can really help with that. That's 4. We're doing these nice and slow. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and I'm going to do 5 more. Again, check in with how you're feeling. If you're just getting back to working out after a break, you may want to do fewer. We don't want to hurt ourselves our first time out. I lost track. I think that's 14. We got 1 more. 15. All right. So the next thing we're going to do is standing leg lifts. And we'll do 10 on one side and then 10 on the other. Again, this is a great time that if you have the bands, you can use them to add extra resistance. We're going to start with our feet, again, a little wider than shoulder distance apart. And then we'll shift our weight to our left and lift our right. 1, 2, 3. Again, we're using the glute, but this time a little bit of the main glute, and then maybe a little bit of that like gluteus minimus. It's a little bit higher up. I think that was 10. And then we're gonna do the same thing on the other side. Another piece of gear you could use here, if you don't have resistance bands, if you have any ankle weights, that would be a great thing to use to increase your resistance here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. All right. So we're going to continue to move on to our next exercise. Now I put in that we're going to do a burpee. I know this can be a little bit stressful. This is not going to be a 10 or an 8 count push-up. It's going to be a burpee. So I'll show you what that looks like. And as far as my definition, we're going to squat down, put our hands on the floor, jump back into a plank, and then jump right back into a squat, and then come up. You could add a little jump here and come up. So that's 1. If coming all the way down to the ground and having all that hopping doesn't work for you, you could come to the ground and step back and then step up. And then instead of jumping, squeeze up again, thinking about squeezing those glutes. And then some other variations of this, and I am going to grab a chair now. Well, let me come back on camera. If coming all the way to the ground is just not working for you, you can still get some practice with this using something like a sturdy chair or a table. Step back, step up, come up. So you see we're still getting that same movement. We just changed our angles a little bit, making things work for wherever we are right now. I'm going to do 2 more. Last one. All right. Again, if you feel like you need more of those, go ahead, but remember we have 3 sets. All right, we're going to do abdominal leg reaches. My thought was I'm going to do these lying on my back. You can change the angle if you need to. So again, if you were using a chair, you could extend your legs and reach towards your toes. Don't worry if you can't touch them. You just want to pull the navel in and use that core strength to go as far forward as you can. You could also do that seated on the mat. And the way I'm going to do it is just like this. So I want to do 10. I think I did 3 with those alternative ones. So I'm going to do 7 more. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Again, don't worry if you're not touching your toes. Go as far as you can. And don't worry if your legs aren't perfectly straight. Just try to extend through your heels as much as you're able to. But we never want to lock out the knees anyway. So it's okay if your knees aren't perfectly straight. All right, we're going to keep it here on the ground and come into a plank. And again, there's lots of different planks. So wherever you're starting out or wherever you are, feel free to do what works best for you. And that includes changing the angle once again. So if your plank needs to be a little higher, you could do a plank just like this. Or even here. I'm going to come onto the ground and do my plank. And you can do, again, planks from your knees or your toes. And since I'm rehabbing my shoulder right now, I'm actually going to do a forearm plank. That's just a little more secure for me. My idea was we would do 60 seconds. If 60 seconds is out of reach for you right now, don't worry, you can come out of it, take a break. And then if you feel like you got a little more juice while we're here, you can come back in whenever you're ready. whatever variation you're in, see if you can really use that core strength, thinking about drawing your belly button up and in towards your spine to keep the body in a straight line. So we're not hiking the hips and we're not dropping them, because again, that's going to let our low back do the work and then we're going to be sore. We really want that to be the core strength that we're using, and the front part of our core strength, our abdominals. And again, as we strengthen the abdominals, we protect our back and make it less likely we'll have back pain. All right, let's come down. That plank is all over. I think that was 60 seconds. I'm trying to watch my watch. All right. And then we're gonna do some more floor work. So I'm gonna come onto my side and we'll do 10 of these on each side. Make sure I'm not gonna hit this chair. Lying on one side, kind of getting the body all in one line, and then bending the knees so that your knees are in line with your hips, kind of at a 90-degree angle. I'm just resting my hand or my head in my hand. You could also do it like this if you wanted. This helps me see what I'm doing better. And what we're going to do is we're going to start keeping that knee at a 90-degree and lifting that leg up. And then we're going to press that leg out long, extending through the heel, flexing the toe, and then bend and come back down. So that's one. We're going to do 10 of those. So lift, extend, bend, lower. That's 2. And again, for those of you who are doing the ski trip, we're really thinking about the outside of this hip to get ready to go down those mountains. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 2 more. 'Last one. See if you can make this the best one. Can you get that knee high and then really extend? See if you can extend that heel in line with your hip and your shoulder. Bend it back and bring it back. If you've got some soreness there, you can tap that hip. We're going to bring that to the other side. You can use your hand in front of you for a little balance. Another thing you can do is put your hand on your hip. See if you can avoid flattening out here and just kind of dropping into this. See if you can kind of tilt your hips just a little bit so that you have kind of a little gap right there. All right, so let's lift and then extend. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, last one, coming up here, and 10. All right, almost done with this round. Or actually, that was it. That was that circuit. Let's take a little break here. I'm only going to take about 30 seconds or so because I just want to make sure I don't make this video too long. But if you need a longer break, take a longer break. You can put me on pause if you're watching this on YouTube. Get a drink of water. Do whatever you need to do. All right. I think that's getting close to 30 seconds. So I'm going to get ready to start with those squats again. You can use that band if you want or not. Another thing you can do when you're doing these squats, if you do have any hand weights, you can hold on to them just to increase that resistance. I'm going to do that time just to show you the variation. So let's think about keeping that back flat, keeping the knees in line with your hips and toes so that you don't hurt your knees. And let's squat down, keeping the back flat. I'm gonna bring my hands together. That feels a little better. 2, squeezing those glutes on the way up, but avoiding arching the back. It's all coming from the legs. So we're not gonna use the back to come up. That's 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, last one, 15. All right, we're gonna switch it up. The next one's coming back to that leg lift. I am gonna use that resistance band for this one. Again, that is just an option. You don't have to do it. I was gonna use that resistance band. Did my dog just take off with that? Maybe. I'll use a different one. I'll get that from her later. All right, so I'm gonna shift my weight to my left and inhale, extend, really squeezing through that glute. 2, and I'm just touching that toe back down. I'm not coming all the way down. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, one more, 10, and then let's switch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, one more, 10. Beautiful. All right, here come those burpees again. Remember, you've got options, so use what works best for you today. Do as many as works for you. I'm going to do 5 again. If you feel like you need more, you are welcome to do more. I am going to try to keep jumping though. 1, 2. Okay, that's all I'm doing. If you want to do more, take your time, get them done. That does get us winded though, doesn't it? I can feel my blood pumping now. All right, next is gonna be those abdominal leg reaches. Remember, you can do them in lots of different orientations. I'm gonna come right down on my back to do those. And I'm gonna go for 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Ooh, one more. And 10. I gotta take a little break after that. All right, I think we're staying down for this next exercise. Yeah, we are coming into those planks. Do the plank that works for you. I'm gonna try to hold for 60 seconds. You hold for as long as works for you today. All right, I'm gonna give myself a couple more seconds to start. Here's a good start point. If you're doing a minute with me, we are at halfway right now. 10 more seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, and that's it. Let's take a little break. Oh my goodness. Now we have just one more exercise for this circuit, and then we get a little break. So let's come on to our side and get ready for those side lying clam with an extension. Again, really thinking about the outside of that hip. Lifting up the knee, keeping that leg in that 90-degree angle, and then pressing through the heel, flexing the toe, extend. Coming back to 90 degrees, and then lower back down. Let's do that 9 more times. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Last one on this side, and 10. And let's just go ahead and finish this circuit. Come right over to the other side. Lift, extend, bend, and lower. That was 1. Bend and lower. That's 2. Lift, extend through the heel, and lower. That was 3. 4. 5, halfway through. 6. 7. 8. 9. 1 more. And 10. Thank you. We get a break, 30 seconds or more. Again, I'm just going to take about 30 before I start this last circuit, and then we'll cool down together. If you need more time, just pause and take your time. Get your water, use the bathroom, whatever you need. Hold on. All right, you ready to do this last circuit with me? Let's do this. Here we're gonna go. We'll go back to our squats. We're gonna do 15. I'm gonna go back to using this band. Tying it tight enough, again, that we just get enough resistance that when we come into the squat, that we can feel it. I'm gonna step my feet a little wider, let the toes open a little wider than the heels. And I'm going to squat down, bending the knees, sticking out the tushy, keeping the chest lifted to the shoulder blades, drawing back so the front of the body is open, and then press through the heels, squeeze the glutes, come back up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 5 more. 11, 12, 13, 14, last one, 15. I'm going to keep this here because I'm going to use it for my leg lifts. You make the decision that works best for you. This is our last circuit together. I'm going to let that weight come into my left foot, and I'm going to squeeze here and lift the right leg. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, last one, 10, and now let's switch to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, last one here, 10. All right, little thief, coming back for more? Hopefully I can keep her from stealing any more of my gear. No, that's not for you. All right, let's do those burpees. You all ready? All right, Penelope, I don't need your help to do a burpee. All right. I'm gonna do 5 again. You can do more if you want, but I'm already feeling this. 1. You're not helping. 2. 3, 2 more for me. 4, last one for me. And 5. All right, if you're still going, go ahead. I'm gonna move on to those abdominal leg reaches in just a moment. I'm gonna catch my breath first though. That jumping definitely got my cardio going. All right, Penelope. She wants to help. You gonna work out with me? Come on. Come on. Oh, all right. Well, hopefully you can see me and more than just my dog. Let's do 10 of those. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, last one, 10. This is always the fun when we're working out from home, right? We've all got kids and pets and a million other things going on, but we can still make this work. All right, after you're done with those leg reaches, really activating that core, that's gonna come in important on the mountain again for any of those joining me for skiing. And if you're not, don't worry about it. These are great movements to do to help you just be functional and be able to move and reduce pain. So even if you're not going on the ski trip, this will be a good workout. All right, let's move on to those planks. This is gonna be fun. Penelope, you gonna let me do a plank? All right, let's go for 60 seconds. I'm gonna start in about 5. I'm watching my clock there. All right. Got some extra added weight from a puppy. That's another alternative, right? All right, if you're doing 60 seconds, we are halfway right now. This is proof that I'm sweating because she's trying to lick it off of me. And that's it. That was 60 seconds. All right, let's do those side lying leg lifts, and then we are done with our circuit and we can move on to cooling down. I'm gonna come onto my right side first, Penelope.
All right. Keeping those legs at 90 degrees, bend at the knee. Let's lift, extend through the heel, really stretch long. Keep that leg high as you can, and then bend, and then lower. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, extend, bend, lower, 6, 7, 8, last one. Oh, 2 more. 9, now last one. And 10. Let's flip over to the other side. I think my puppy is going shopping in my room for things to try to chew on. And let's start here. Lift, extend, bend, lower. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're halfway through the very last exercise. 6. You don't get those. 7, 8, 9, and 10. And I didn't show this earlier, but since Penelope was kind enough to bring me my band when I'm in this posture, I'm going to show you that if you wanted some more resistance here, you could put the band around your upper thighs. If she doesn't chew it. Come on, Penelope, you're not helping. And then make sure it's tight enough that you can feel that resistance as you lift, extend, bend, and lower. So again, just another opportunity to add some additional resistance if you felt like those movements weren't doing enough for you. And that would also be a good place to add an ankle weight if that's what you're looking for as well. All right, anyone else ready to get a cool down? I know I am. I'm gonna have to put some of my stuff up so this puppy doesn't eat it all. All right. So, hide these things from her. And we're gonna come into a quad stretch. So stretching the front part of our thigh right here. Again, a few different ways you could do this. You could continue to lie on your side. Bend your knee, reach back and grab your ankle or your foot. If you aren't able to reach yours, this is another opportunity where you can have something really simple at home help you get into that stretch. You could use an old belt or a tie, put it around the top of your foot. Penelope, come here, darling. Let me give you a kiss. Okay. And then come into that from here, just like this. Well, hope you get the idea, even with the dog in the frame. But the idea is, even if your hand doesn't touch your foot, you can still come into this. If you want to do this standing, it might be easier for me to show you since she's decided that it's important to be here. You can reach back with or without the strap and come into a quad stretch. And then finally, if you wanted to use a wall or a couch, you could put the top of your foot against it and kind of come back. It's a little much for my knee, so I'm not going to stay in that, but you could use that as well if you wanted to get even more intensity in that stretch. So go ahead and find the variation that works for you. Let's hold this maybe for about 30 seconds. And then I'm going to switch sides. If you see me using my chair for balance, you are welcome to use a piece of furniture or the wall for balance as well if you choose to do this standing. And of course, if any of our standing movements and you're being challenged with your balance, if you need to use a little support, feel free to. It's a great way to adapt these standing movements we're doing together. I think that's about 30 seconds on this side. If you feel like you need a longer, go ahead and hold out longer. I'm going to come back down. We'll see how this goes. And this is one I really like to do. It stretches the front of the leg and the back of the leg, and we get to do it kind of dynamically. So I'm going to come first into a lunge. And really think about opening up in the front of this hip flexor on this leg. So it's like you're sending that hip flexor kind of forward and down. And then you shift back, start to straighten the front leg and lift the toes and fold over. And then this is where you get a stretch on the back of the leg. And you can flow through this. If you want to kind of move back and forth, or if you're in one place and you realize that's where you really need the stretch, just hold it wherever you need it. And if being on your knee is not great for you, another way you can do this is to stand, come into the lunge standing, and then straighten the back leg and fold over the front leg. So again, that's like a lunge, and then straighten the legs and fold. So it's basically the same movement, but without having to put all that pressure on the knee. And then after you do about 30 seconds of that, or however long you need to, then we're just going to switch sides. So again, we start in the lunge, both knees are bent, sending that right hip this time forward and down, and then straighten and fold. Lunge, and then fold. All right, once you're done on this side, we're going to do a calf stretch. You can do that standing, take the feet about shoulder, hips apart or shoulder width apart, and then come down and think about grounding down through that heel and lifting up the toe as much as you're able to. Again, don't worry if you're not all the way down touching the toe. You're just going as far as you're able to feel that stretch. You could do this very same thing seated. I'm going to do it standing today. And then we'll walk the hands over and do the same thing on the other side. Again, if you want to feel some more intensity, just lift those toes and draw them back towards your knee, and then you'll feel a little bit more. But if you're already feeling something there, don't worry about adding that. That's just if you weren't feeling much of the stretch, you can add it in. All right. We're going to do a stretch that gets into our glutes and the side of our hip, kind of a figure 4 stretch. You can do that a few different ways. Again, I'm leaving this up to you. You can lie on your back and cross the ankle over the knee. You can pull the legs in a little closer, even using your hands for a little bit more resistance. And you could also do this by coming up towards the legs instead of bringing the legs towards the body. And last but not least, and that's how I'm going to do it, you do this seated in a chair. So crossing one ankle over the other knee. And then if you want to intensify, hinging through the hips, keeping the back flat and folding forward. So we're not rounding the spine. This forward movement is coming from hinging through the hips. Don't forget to breathe here while we're stretching. If you're using any kind of heart rate monitor or fitness band or fitness watch or anything like that, This is the time we're letting our heart rate come back down and recovering. And then we'll switch sides. Again, any of those options. I'm going to stay here seated in my chair for this. Although I think Penelope may have given up on getting kisses for the time being. So I might be able to come back to the floor safely. All right, I'm going to come back up. I am going to come to the floor for this next one. If you did my workout from earlier this week, this is similar. We're going to change things a little bit. So we're going to come into that mermaid stance with our legs. This is another opportunity to get a little bit stretch in the outside of those hips. So the knees will go one way, the feet will go the other. And I like to stagger. You can kind of stack them more if that feels better for you. Oh, here she comes. She knew I was on the floor. And I'm going to do a little rotation here. Last time we did a side bend from our mermaid pose or mermaid posture stretch. This time I'm going to do a little bit of a twist. So I'm going to do, my knees are pointed to the left. So I'm going to put my left hand out to the side and I'm going to open the right arm up. And then I'm going to curl and tuck my right hand behind my left hand. And then inhale, come back up. I'm going to do that about 5 times. So curl, twisting the spine. And then inhale, open. I'm going to do 3 more of those. Exhale, curl. Inhale, open. 2 more. I'm going to do 1 more of these, and then I'm going to switch to the other side. To the back to center, and then take the knees and feet and just flip them. And then we'll take the right hand out to the side, open the left hand up. We're just making a big reach, and then exhale, curl, inhale, lift, exhale, inhale. I think there's 3 more we're planning on doing. Exhale, inhale, 2 more. Last one. All right, I'm going to come back up to my feet and we're going to do a side lunge to each side, and then that's it. We're all done. So take the feet out really wide, open the toes. Let's bend one knee, sink into this. You can keep your knee aligned with your toes so that we don't injure the knees. You can keep your body upright and centered right over the hips. And again, if you need a little help with balance here, you can have a chair or maybe have the wall near you. And let's press through that heel, come up and come to the other side. You need to readjust so you can get the right angle for your joints. Go ahead. I had to move my toe just a little bit there. One more inhale and exhale, and then let's press through that heel toe the feet back together. Give yourself a hand. Thank you for joining me. This was a great workout. I know I burned quite a few calories doing this. So I hope if you join me that you feel like you got something out of this. If you have any comments, any questions, feel free to reach out to me. Again, you can reach me via email or call or text me. You can also leave a comment on this YouTube video. I hope to see you soon. Have a good night and stay safe. Bye.